Hit record. Okay, there we go. I think we're started. Yeah, so this presentation, I'll go through the material. Today we're talking about Horse Council BC's funding opportunities, and I have some slides on that. Our financer manager, Cam Trudy, might be able to join us later as well, and answer some questions. But I'll try my best to answer questions, and if not, I can pass on your questions to Cam and the rest of the team as well. So I'm just going to share my screen here. Okay, just a second. All right, perfect. Okay, think that should be good for everybody. All right, so let's get into it. Oops, sorry, just a second here. There we go. Like I said, my name is Sarah Allison, Manager of Coaching and Education with Horse Council and former recreation advisor. And tonight we're going to talk about the 3 grants that we're offering for 2026. We offer in our community section infrastructure and equipment grants and education grants. And then in our recreation sector, we offer the BC Equestrian Trails Fund. So we will start off with our infrastructure and equipment grant. That grant this year we have $60,000 in the fund, and that has increased $10,000 from last year, which is great. This grant is always oversubscribed. We have tons of applications that come in for this one. A great grant for a lot of things, and we'll go into kind of the details of what it qualifies for on the next slide. But yeah, just some details about that. You can get up to a maximum of $5,000 to put towards your project, or up to 75% of the expenses, up to that maximum 5,000. And the clubs, we do require you to cover 25% of the project cost. So you have to make sure you got 25% funding kind of secured when you apply for this grant. And we do ask that you have been a Horse Council member for the past 2 years. And application deadline for this one is April 30th. I'll try and keep an eye on the chat. If you guys have anything, but I will get to questions at the end as well. All right. So infrastructure and equipment grant. So just kind of what you can get, like what qualifies for that. So equipment purchases, some examples can be timers, loudspeaker, arena hero, jumps, barrels, obstacles. Another example, helmets for therapeutic riding program. And then facility upgrades. So arena footing, fencing for arenas or paddocks, stabling, clubhouse, concession, those sort of things. So for kind of your community arena and whatnot. And then application checklist. So when you're going to apply for this grant, we want you to kind of get together all your paperwork and everything, and we ask that you send in some quotes. So say if you're needing say like a cargo trailer or something for storage. Maybe you've gone to a dealership or something that maybe sells cargo trailers. You get a quote for that. You would include that in your application. Or like a contractor, maybe are going to get your arena footing improved, and you go to the contractor and say, what is your expected price and everything for this, and get a quote for that. Then we also ask for letters of support. This can be just kind of even emails from different community members and whatnot, your club members who use the facility, that sort of thing, people that are just supporting the project. And then this is a big one as well, is your long-term lease agreement or user agreement. So your club might have, say, agreement in place with your municipality or your regional district, and it's important to include that. And then budget sheet, which budget sheets can always be a little bit tricky. So if you do get stuck on the budget sheet, you can reach out to our finance manager for some clarification on that. And yeah, and then once you kind of got those things together, you will email that in to finance@hcbc.ca and by the April 30th deadline there. Okay, and then we just decided to do a little feature. Some of the projects that we funded in 2025, there was a lot of great ones, but these are just some of the ones that I had pulled. We had Grizzly Valley Saddle Club in Tumbler Ridge, did some paddock upgrades for their club. And then Dusty Trail Riders in Prince George. They did paddock upgrades as well, plus arena upgrades. I included their paddock upgrade picture, but they did send in some pictures of like a dump truck and stuff in their arena, getting some new footing, which was great. And then Swantula Horse Club on Malcolm Island, one of our Gulf islands. I believe it was last year, upgraded their arena and whatnot. And this year they just needed a harrow for the arena as well. So we were happy to put some dollars towards that. Oh, great. Okay, great. So yeah, moving on from the infrastructure and equipment to our education grant. So this grant looks a little bit different. We have $10,000 available in this fund, um, and it's up to a maximum of $500 per grant, or up to 50% of the expenses, up to that $500. And we always encourage this one just to be open to kind of like the public horse community. Like they don't have to be horse council members or whatnot even. I guess if it's a riding clinic or whatnot, maybe. But yeah, we just like to have it open to kind of everybody come learn, that sort of thing. And then HCBC member for at least 1 year. And this one's different from the April 30th deadline. So this one is a rolling application deadline. So this one does, the funds do generally get exhausted on this one. So I would say, like look at planning early and everything for your event that you're hoping to host. Just because if you leave it till, oh, maybe, we won't get to that until the fall of 2026. But I would definitely encourage to apply early just because those funds kind of get used up generally in kind of the first half of the year, winter and spring and whatnot. So yeah, apply early for those, and then we just kind of do just as they come in and everything, we review those. Yeah. Okay, and then what are the education grants for? So lots of great different things. I was going through last year's applications and everything. And yeah, there was a lot of great clinics that were put on. I'm just gonna have a notification here. I'm just gonna check that. Oh, just a Q&A. Okay, Rose, I'll get to that in just a minute here. Okay, so education grant, yeah, lots of different clinics you can put on. So you can put on like a mounted clinic, driving clinic, groundwork, vaulting as some examples, classroom learning, demonstrations. Previously, we've had like a horse, a club has gotten in like a massage therapist for horses and kind of showed how that works. Sometimes it's more anatomy focused, where it's maybe looking at like the bones of a horse's leg and hoof and whatnot. So yeah, so like so many different things. And I think This year, I don't think I included the picture, but there was Backcountry Horsemen in 2025 put on like a drill clinic as well for their members, which I thought was really cool. So yeah, lots of great things to put on. And then yeah, application checklists for this one. So we want your event details, the educator's info, where the event is being advertised, if you are opening that event to non-members, which we really encourage, and the budget for that. And these ones get emailed into finance at hcbc.ca as well. Okay, yeah, and these are some fun photos from some of the clinics that happened in 2025. So yeah, so the Thompson Pony Club runs their Pony Club camp, and this was just one picture that I pulled. Those three horses lined up there. Looks like they got out for a day of cross country, and some of the other photos they sent in were a horse jumping down a bank and pony jumping over a log and stuff like that. So it's kind of their cross country clinic, and I believe they do some other things at their camp as well. And then in her second photo here, we had a working equitation clinic in the working equitation, their North Caribou chapter. So working equitation now has a bunch of chapters throughout BC, which is great. It's a growing discipline. It's really great to see all the working equitation stuff that's happening throughout the province. And they had Darcy Hinkle come up and do a clinic for them, and I just thought was a beautiful horse and a nice trot there. Some good like self-carriage and everything. It's just really lovely to see. And then North Peace Light Horse Association. This one's kind of that little circle down at the bottom, but they had a Cade Mills Horsemanship Clinic and lots of good pictures from that one. And lastly, this big image on the right here with the horse going over the bridge, that was the Backcountry Horsemen South Vancouver Island chapter, and they hosted a trail obstacle clinic. So lots of great photos from that one too. So it's great to see those funds going to good use and people having a great time on their horses and yeah, getting more education on how to work with them and everything and specific to disciplines and whatnot. Okay. So now we're moving into our BC Equestrian Trails Fund grant. So this one, it's $25,000 in the fund for 2026. This is similar to the infrastructure and equipment grant, where we do a maximum of $5,000 or up to 75% of those expenses. And for this one, to start off with, your club has to secure 20% of the project costs in dollars. So yeah, just making sure you got 20% kind of cash confirmed for that project. And similarly, application deadline April 30th. And I did kind of make a mistake here just on my slides. This was new for last year, but I'll just mention it again this year. Projects to be completed by December 31st, we like. And last year we increased the in-kind volunteer general labor amount. So yeah, those have kind of been in place since last year. Yeah, and then we'll go on to kind of what's covered on the Trails Fund. Okay, so eligible projects for the Trails Fund. New trail construction, trail upgrades, improvements, bridge and water crossing construction, upgrades or rehabilitation, signage, trail surveying and tracking, trail rehabilitation, horse camp facilities such as corrals, highlines, toilets, fire rings, signage, stock watering facilities. And and trailhead modifications to accommodate horses and horse trailers. All right. And the application checklist. Okay, so similar to the infrastructure and equipment grant, we want to see quotes for potentially services that you need or for materials. So say if you need to build a bridge or something across the creek, we'd like to see the quote on the materials for that. Written permission from the land manager. This again is a really important one. Land managers could be like BC Parks, Rec Sites and Trails BC, sometimes like BC Hydro, generally on like some sort of kind of public, well, it has to be public land. We don't do any trail improvements on private land. So those are just some examples of who your land manager might be. And then letters of support from the community. Again, yeah, even just kind of an email um, from, people who are riding the trail. I know we get a lot of backcountry horsemen applications from this, which is great. So maybe your backcountry horsemen members. And yeah, and even if you have, maybe you're working with a multi-user group as well, and maybe you share that trail with hikers, and you could always get the hikers that are using the trail to write in as well. We would love to see that. And then, yeah, just to include in your project as well are your detailed plans. So a written description of your project plans, the location map showing the nearest community, and a map of the site and the project location. So the map of the site is kind of like a zoomed in view of what you'll be updating. Maybe you're adding some new corrals at your horse campsite. So kind of a zoomed in picture of that map site. And project location can maybe be a little bit of a zoomed out map, just kind of showing where that is and, in relation maybe to the nearest community. Budget sheet, which again, if you need help with that, feel free to reach out because budgets can be a little bit tricky sometimes. But yeah, essentially, your expenses and your revenues need to match on that. And this one, you can email the completed applications to recreation@hcbc.ca. Okay. And then, yeah, these were just some of the projects that I pulled from last year. So we had the Backcountry Horsemen of North Vancouver Island chapter. They did an upgrade to their Bead Nail Loop Trail, and that's on Denman Island. So I just thought I would include a little picture of one of their signposts, which was great. Just kind of that multi-user sign. So they're sharing this trail with hikers and bikers. So it's great they were able to have that on there. And then also just kind of make a note of horse councils and backcountry horsemen's contributions. And then this one was a bit of a different one. Well, we haven't done too many of these before, but it was great to see. Backcountry Horsemen, the Central Vancouver Island chapter, their Spruceton Trail Network. They did a mapping project for that and got some like digital map files, which was great. They updated their kiosk as well and got some paper maps printed out and everything as well. And then Backcountry Horsemen in Aldergrove, they went back to the Dudney Trail and Tulameen campsite. So I included this picture, and I gotta say, I cheated a little bit. This picture was actually from 2024, and I apologize, I did cut somebody out when I was inserting that. But yeah, they've been doing a lot of great work up there. They wanted to, keep working on the trail. And I believe they were adding in some kind of survival stuff into their cabin and just making that a little bit nicer and everything. Okay, so that kind of comes to the completion of our three grants that we're offering this year. But maybe what I will do is I will just how to get on to the HCBC website. We have updated our website. So it looks a little bit different, and I just want to show you guys how to access the grant applications and everything on the website. So I'm gonna maybe stop sharing for a second and then I will reshare. And thanks for joining us, Cam. I see Cam's here now as well, our finance manager. So we will get to some questions shortly, but we have a couple more slides to go through. And let me just see if I can. Sorry, guys. Just a moment here. Ah, okay. I think this should work for me now. Here we go. Okay, perfect. Yeah, so this is the Horse Council BC website, just hcbc.ca. And then to get to our funding pages, you go under membership and benefits. So you can just kind of hover over that. And then you can go down and select funding for HCBC members. That'll bring you over here. And then you can either select which particular grant that you're looking for, or kind of have a quick overview of all of the grants. Just going through here. So this will give you a quick overview. Then maybe you want to learn a bit more about the BC Equestrian Trails Fund. You can click into there. And yeah, the intakes are now open. So great that we have that up there. Something I didn't mention, but for the BC Equestrian Trails Fund, the applications will close April 30th. If the funds are not exhausted during that time, we will open another intake in June. So June 30th will be the deadline for that. But that's kind of we'll let you know if that does happen. But yeah, hopefully it will be exhausted within the first go, which would be great. Yeah, so down here, these are just kind of there. And yeah, and then you should be able to just click on the criteria, getting your application, and then if you want a budget worksheet as well. So that's kind of where they are on the website. Just kind of show you, and then you can jump right into one of them as well. Okay, great. All right, and just stop sharing and just go back to the slides that I was sharing before, if those are still, oh, maybe I will, sorry guys, just a second. There we go. Okay, perfect. All right, so yeah, that's great. Able to show you guys that. Okay, and then yeah, this is just a little section I just wanted to kind of pop on here for reviewing applications. So yeah, when we're reviewing the applications, it's kind of like what does a grant community look for, and how do we take all these applications, which like infrastructure and equipment, we're getting 30 plus, maybe close to 40 applications or more. So it's a lot to go through. But one of our priorities is that we want like to prioritize clubs who haven't received any funding in the previous calendar year. So if you have received funding last year, we might kind of skip over you until and maybe wait till you apply in a next round or whatnot. And then we also like to spread that throughout the province. So we are trying to pick, we don't want just everything in, say, Vancouver Island or something. We do like to spread it throughout the province, like Vancouver Island, Lower Mainland, Interior, that sort of thing, and more northern regions as well. So we definitely try to spread it around. And then we also like to be inclusive of all disciplines. So, yeah, we like to include carriage driving. We like to include Western disciplines, English disciplines, if there's vaulting, like a little bit of everything. So, that's just a little bit of how we choose and how we like to spread around the money. Okay, and then so once your application is successful, you've received your grant, completed your project, what are next steps? So you will have to do a final report for the project. And yeah, so it's just kind of like letting us know, like, how did your project go? And did you, go on budget? Did you maybe didn't use all the money? And we do, kind of recoup that back and then use it for granting next year or whatnot. So and then receipts we like to see as well. So yeah, so kind of how did your project go? Submitting your final budget and those receipts. And then also pictures. Please send us pictures. It's really fun to actually create this presentation. And I was going through the photos today. And it was great to see everybody out having fun at like the different education clinics, and great to see the different projects and stuff around the province. So yeah, I'd love to see your photos and share about those. And then we do ask for recognition just for the grant funding, and just having some HCBC signage displayed as well. All right. Okay, so that is kind of covers everything. And then I know we already had one question come through, so I'm just gonna see if I can go back to that. There we go. Okay, Rose, thanks for your patience here. So, yeah, I'm going to read your question. So, are in-kind donations considered part of the 25% that the club has to front? So, unfortunately, in-kind donations do not count for that. It does have to be kind of like cash equivalent. So maybe you've already received, or you've maybe fundraised a bit of that 25% sort of thing. So yeah, and it does have to be cash and not in kind. Okay, Kendra, can we apply for more than one education grant? And could there be a chance of receiving more than one? So I think technically you could, but in the sense of us like spreading it around the province and whatnot and trying to get it to a bunch of different groups. And typically we do have like this grant is usually used up kind of right away. So yeah, so I think technically yes, but I think we would kind of prioritize spreading it around. Cam, did you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, so for the education grant, it's basically the requirements are that the club has to be a member with HCBC for at least 1 year, and it's only one application per
Oh,
club. So if you are working with more than one club, you can take advantage and apply if you're hosting clinics at both, or like organizing clinics at both clubs you work with, you can technically apply from both clubs.
yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, perfect. Thanks for clarifying, Cam. That's great. Okay. Sherry, so our club is putting on a clinic at the end of July and was wondering if we can get our grant application in early. Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, like I said, these education grants do get used up. So yeah, as soon as you have the details and everything of what you're wanting to put on, I would say, kind of submit that as soon as possible, because that does get used up. I
I'll
hope
add
that.
I'll add to
Oh,
that as well. So basically, education grants are first come, first serve. I have we have been receiving some applications and we'll start
mhm.
reviewing them the second week of February. So what the plan with the education grants is, we'll try to review them every 2 weeks. So try to submit them as soon as possible, and then that way the grant committee can review them, and we'll get an answer back to you soon.
Perfect. Thanks, Cam. All right. No, just trying to see. Okay. Just give you guys a moment if anything else comes through. I thought I saw somebody raise their hand potentially as well, but maybe we captured that in one of the Q&As. Yeah, I'll just give you guys a couple more moments. Any other questions come up? Yeah, we are definitely available to, if you have questions that you think of after this webinar, you're more than welcome to reach out. Um, Cam is probably the go-to in the office, but is there anybody else there they would reach out to Cam, for questions?
Sorry, I couldn't unmute myself.
Oh, that's okay.
Um, it would, I would just email finance at hcbc.ca, and I can probably answer any questions that any of you have. Yeah, just shoot them at me and I'll take care of them.
Okay, perfect. And I think I have your email coming up on the next slide as well. Sherry, is it possible to call and speak to someone as this is our first time applying for a grant? Yes, yes, you're more than welcome to call in. I know Cam, I think, is a little busy with year end, but I feel, are you getting close to the other side of year end, Cam, or?
Almost. Just if I don't answer your call, just email me as well, and then or leave a voicemail and I will get back to you as soon as I can, okay?
Perfect. Yeah, yeah. I know it's been a little bit crazy at the office with memberships due December 31st and then year end, of course, December 31st. But yeah, but I think we're almost on the other side of it and we're happy to, yeah, definitely take the time to kind of walk you through or help you as much as possible, kind of with that process and everything. So yeah, don't hesitate to reach out for sure. Okay, and then I'm just going to switch to our other slide here. Oops. And I think that got a couple of things popping up on my screen, but yeah, so yeah, our phone number is there, either toll free or just a regular number. And then the finance at hcbc.ca there. If you want to direct kind of some questions Cam's way. Yeah, but other than that, I think that's kind of all I have for tonight. Yeah, and don't hesitate to reach out. Cam, did you have any like final things you wanted to say?
Please, everyone apply. We love reviewing the applications. Honestly,
It's great.
we like to see all the projects that the clubs are trying to work on or what they've accomplished. So it's really nice to see all of that.
Yeah, yeah, it's a fun thing to do. I do enjoy the grant committee for sure. So, yeah, yeah, please review the grants, please apply. It's great for us and yeah, good for you guys too. So, yeah, awesome. Well, I think we will end it on that. Like I said, this has been recorded, will be on our YouTube page. Yeah, if you need anything else. All right. Take care, everybody, and have a good evening. Hey, guys.